FUTEC ANC has gone global.
This is the news that Ramaphosa went to Ukraine and Russia to try to de-escalate the conflict and was told to FUTEC.
So this is the story on the ground. There were two jets leaving South Africa. One, which was Cyril Ramaphosa's personal jet, and the second jet had journalists, security officials, and all sorts of weapons in it.
You may be asking, what exactly was the president's personal bodyguard trying to do? Possibly start up an African version of Wagner, maybe. But apparently they rocked up in Poland with a shed load of weaponry. Boxes and boxes and boxes of spears, assegais, the usual kind of war stuff that we see in Africa. Maybe some machetes. But what we can say is that the Polish were like, hey guys, you can't come here with this stuff. You need to go home. President's bodyguard said, hey, what's wrong with our unlicensed machete? They said, well, we don't like that here. They said, why? Is it because you're racist?
So the official story is that there were no permits available for the sniper rifles, the RPGs, and the missile launchers that were in the second plane. Why you go to a de-escalation peace talk with all those weapons, we have absolutely no idea. It is a bit strange. It's like going to settle gang warfare in the Cape Flats, but arriving in like 5 tanks. It doesn't make any sense to us whatsoever. But it seems so, Byron, that FICA was not adhered to because the president's people only had copies of the permits for all of those weapons. But as we well know, this is FICA. You need the original and you need the certified copies. So if the government can't do FICA properly, why the hell do they force it upon us?
Well, because it's the usual rules for thee, but not for me. And, Ramon, I must say, you and I both carry personal protection weapons every single day. But the government has really taken its liberty to the extreme.
But seriously, ladies and gentlemen, the president went to go see Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. The president of Ukraine told him to basically FUTEC. Then we went to go see Putin in Russia, and Putin basically said, well, you can FUTEC as well because your plan is bullshit.
Yes, so you may be asking, ladies and gentlemen, what does this actually mean? Well, apparently when the president rocked up in Ukraine, he said, look, the problem is we're having a fertilizer and grain shortage around the world. Ramon, I am reminded, once upon a time, there was this country north of South Africa, but I believe they used to have a shed load of grain. So much so, they used to have to burn it. There was a member of the ANC government, I think his name was Thabo Mbeki, who came up with this bright spark idea, which he called quiet diplomacy. And what he said to Robert Mugabe is, we know you're destroying your country. We know it doesn't look good. But if we say nothing, that will fix the conflict. Yeah. I mean, if we look the other way, you guys will become good guys, right? And it didn't really work out for him. Well, apparently, according to Thabo Mbeki, the ANC's approach to the conflict, by being non-aligned and trying the tried and tested approach of quiet diplomacy, isn't quite working out for the Ukraine-Russian conflict. And as a result, Zelensky said, I hear you, I know that you're worried about your grain and your fertilizer, but honestly, FUTEC and FUTEC hard. So they did FUTEC, and they FUTEC'd over to Russia.
And once in Russia, Putin sat down with them, heard what they had to say, and then said, well, actually, we sued for peace early in 2022.
Парафирован руководителем переговорной группы из Киева. Он поставил там свою подпись. Вот он. Он есть. Он так и называется. Договор о постоянном нейтралитете и гарантиях безопасности Украины. Именно о гарантиях, о которых вы сказали, уважаемый друг президент Южноафриканской Республики. 18 статей. Но после того, как мы, как и обещали, отвели войска от Киева, киевские власти, как обычно, делают их хозяева, выбросили это все на свалку истории. Скажем так, аккуратно и постараюсь интеллигентно выражаться.
So, I'm not too sure how Cyril, in all his majesty, could hope to end this impasse. It just seems like such a waste of time. But on top of all of that, Byron, what no one is picking up, and the crux of the story is, maybe this was a psyop by NATO. NATO doesn't want to end the conflict. Poland is a member of NATO, and therefore, irrespective of what was on that second plane, it is very doubtful to me that it would have gone any further than Warsaw. And no one seems to be picking up on that particular strain of the story.
You may be correct, and there is a possibility that it was a psyop. However, there is also a possibility that the ANC's luck in the global order has just run out. As we all know, at the end of apartheid, the ANC was much lauded because it apparently sued for peace in South Africa that didn't require a bloody revolution, a civil war, if you will. What the ANC is now finding is that when it goes around the world, no one's really prepared to listen to it anymore, and its global currency as a peace player seems to have run out. Everybody now considers it to be exactly what we always knew it to be: useless, inept, and basically just a product of a bygone age. Why I would say that to you, Ramon, is that if you look at all the delegations that went to Ukraine, all of them, apart from South Africa's delegation, got through without any problems. And part of the reason for that is because the delegations that were sent from all the other African countries were toned down and proportionate to what it is that they went there to do. But South Africa, in its infinite wisdom, decided, we're going to buck the trend. The rest of you are going to send plane loads of 20 people, not us. We go in style. 120 mercenaries, boxes of ammo, journos everywhere to take propaganda footage and photo opportunities. And as you can predict, the Western nations weren't very impressed by this.
Though despite all of that, deep in my heart, I truly believe that NATO wanted to frustrate the South African government as much as possible. Because A, it doesn't want to end the war, but mostly B, because it is a complete clown show. The ANC is literally the clown show of the diplomatic world, and NATO has proven that.
Absolutely, and as Peter du Toit, we're not ones to quote journos every 3 seconds, but as he rightly says, the entire debacle is synopsis with the ANC. What you saw in Poland was basically how the ANC governed South Africa. So with that being said, it's very unsurprising that an ANC government that cannot provide even electricity, the basic needs of its citizens, was unable to basically get a plane load of weapons through the Polish borders in Europe.
And as for the actual peace plan, we don't really care about it. You can read it online about what Cyril wants for Ukraine and Russia. But just so you know, both parties rejected it completely. And therefore, this 20, 30, 50 million rand exercise has been a complete shambles, just as everything else to do with the ANC. But for more on this, why not check out this video?